Oh, wait. I think it's working now. Can you guys hear me now? Because I was looking at like the options menu, and I hadn't even changed anything, and suddenly the little the mic uh, meter started moving again. Anyways, somebody let me know if they can hear me. Oh, that's good. All right. Wait, I'm gonna try an experiment. Wait, a second ago, as in you can't hear me anymore? There seems to be no rules when it comes to this. It will work, and then it won't work, and then it will start working again, and I cannot fucking figure out what's going
Looks like you're fine.
on. Okay. I guess we're fine. Fuck, streaming is the worst. There are people who do this every day of their lives. Anyways, so I was talking for like 10 minutes before realizing there was no mic. Fuck if I know what I was saying. Except hello. Oh shit. There was a copy of the stream playing on my phone. Alright.
Can you select the chat for me?
In a moment, I gotta turn off the thing. Anyways, so. Inks. There we go. So, this scene, as I've mentioned on Twitter, there's a new character in this scene. And well, oh, hey, D. Glad you could make it. Sunday streams, for whatever reason, sometimes seem to be a bad time for a lot of people. Not least of which because it seems to be everybody's Dungeons and Dragons day. But anyways, yeah. So this scene has a new character in it, and though I suppose if you've been kicking around for a really long time, you may be able to suss out who that is. But for newer people who would rather be left in the dark, we have a selection of Steves to keep. Also, for Jen's amusement, there was a couple that were that fit the actual pose of the character in the panel. So it's great.
Go for it. Fucking kill me. I should have used that as reference.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no, wouldn't it be great if Steve was indeed the new character? And I mean, it's not necessarily that he isn't. Like various Rising Saiyan characters are kind of created with certain people in mind, I guess. God, what the fuck? Is my Cintiq like coated in grease? Cintiqs get really greasy and it's really gross. Alright, so I guess I'm going to have to ink around Steve. Jen's, Jen's still losing her shit. Again, I don't know how well you'll be able to hear Jen. Man, I should really get a proper mic stand. I feel like it's so far away from me. If there's any sound, what have yous, let me know. Okay. In the meantime, I trust everybody had a good fortnight since the last stream.
Carson says, I love art.
Yeah, I do have a copy of chat open on my phone right here.
Oh, okay.
The problem is I don't have my glasses on, so first of all I have to squint at it, and second of all it doesn't seem to update as fast as like the browser version.
It also seems to kick you out sometimes.
It did. As soon as Jen alerted me that like the mic wasn't on, and then as soon as I like bent down to my phone to like type, "Oh hey, the mic isn't on. Let me fix that." As I watched, it kicked me out of the chat and back to a different app, and that was very strange. I'm still doing that thing where I lean into chat so they'll hear me better instead of leaning to the other side, which actually has the microphone.
Oh.
Okay, so there's doll. Oh shit, this isn't the actual size it needs to be. I've done that so many times.
Inking on the wrong size?
Yeah, RS is... I don't know if we talked about this on stream before. RS is penciled at a different size than it is inked at and otherwise completed at, just so that Jen can pencil quicker, because in general you can draw quicker at a smaller size. So I need to bump that up.
Hi, Matt.
Oh yeah, hey Zamat. I love that no matter what day we stream, there's people who just like show up at work.
You guys are rad.
I was kind of hoping T would show up at work, because it's Sunday and it's not like they do anything.
Oh. We should book her to do that.
Well, I mean, I did. Like, I shared the stream with her. I really like this one of Steve on the phone.
That's so good.
It's really good. Anyways, I got blues to deal with. This doll is really cute. What you did.
I love this whole page, honestly.
Yeah, this is that. I may have mentioned it on Twitter. This is that page that actually doesn't need to exist. It is simply a joke. There is, like, it helps like with characterization and stuff. So I guess you could argue that it's useful, but in a comic that like literally kills us to make, we shouldn't be spending our resources on pages that an editor would probably tell us to get rid of. But we don't have an editor, because we can't afford an editor. So all the ridiculous pages go in. Oop. Oh, if you're gonna... Also, if you're gonna eat lunch, there's, like, a nudes left.
Oh, yay.
Have some hot nudes.
I got a ham for $9. Like a whole ham.
Like the ones that we bailed on last time?
No, they also had those, but none of them looked good.
So what's the difference? But those were clearly whole hams, so what are you
know how
talking about?
We usually got like the little half a ham.
Uh-huh.
It's a whole one of those, like 2 halves
Well, that's pretty cool.
for $9.
God damn it. It's all your friggin' nose. Excuse me. This is also the page that, again, I may have mentioned on Twitter. The joke featured is one that was very much popularized by Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I wrote this before I ever saw that. So I just kind of left it in. That's her tongue. To answer Matt's question. Sorrel's doing it too somewhere. There he is.
Perfect.
If I didn't give a fuck, I'd just leave it. No, we gotta... Here, I'll be everybody else inking a webcomic. Where they leave those little leftovers because everything is like so stabilized for them. Or actually, no, because this is inaccurate because they'd be using vectors. Say no to vectors. Vector inking is bad. I gotta turn down that stabilization again. Oop. Even 16 is kind of, it's like a little bit high.
I usually get to 17.
Sorry, I'm truncating her eye here because
It's really big.
beyond that, because her hair is not going to let it show through, it will do that weird optical illusion where it looks like it's endless.
Okay. Rage is asking why vector inking is bad.
I mean, it isn't necessarily. I mean, obviously, the advantage of vectors is that it's infinitely scalable, and so therefore you never have a resolution problem, or at least not for your inks. The problem with vectors is, as with most things when it comes to art, as with most things when it comes to most things, most people don't know what the fuck they're doing, and so their settings create a situation where because the thing with with drawing with vectors is that it does this thing, and you may remember dinking around with Flash, you know, like 15, 20 years ago, and you would draw a line in Flash, and then after you were done drawing that line, you would watch as the program kind of like rejigged your line to be like smoother. And so, while that can be a handy shortcut, in the end, it kind of represents a loss of control, and like you don't really get what you actually drew. You kind of get an approximation of what you drew. And so I think practicing with a decent raster brush and just getting really good with that will ultimately allow you to, you know, get much closer to what's in your head rather than being at the mercy of whatever the smoothing algorithm decides your lines should look like. And a shitload of webcomics do that. Or rather, a shitload of webcomic authors do that with their line art. And I have to assume some of them are even good at it. But if they are, I can't tell they were using vectors. But I can tell that a lot of webcomics are using vectors, and they are not using them terribly effectively. And some webcomics even manage to, like, you know, get over that and otherwise look good anyways. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, it's the artist's decision. Oh, yeah, Clip Studio actually has that. Well, of course it does. That's what everybody uses. To be completely honest, I'm not exactly sure how to get to the vector paint tool, or whatever they call it in this. Because, personally anyways, it was never even a consideration. Because I don't feel it represents me enough. No, but I think she looks too happy in her expression. The idea was supposed to be kind of like a cocked eyebrow, like, are you kidding? That's kind of weird. Like, maybe I can kind of fool it into looking like that. Yeah. Hang on, it's auto-saving. My Cintiq does the like disconnect thing so often. I'm always terrified when my cursor stops for a moment. Oh yeah, no. Stabilization and line smoothing is like, I mean, they're kind of two different things. Like, stabilization is simply making your cursor go water skiing behind your input device. Or rather, your cursor goes water skiing behind the actual position of the cursor. If that makes sense. And so it's like you're swinging a flail around, whereas like line smoothing is like it takes the line you've drawn and like completely turns it into a different line that was aided by a computer. Oh, I am zoomed in too far. I try to keep it at like no more than 70% when I'm inking, so I don't get lost in details nobody's going to see anyways, which is still possibly my biggest problem, even with the precautions I take. Excuse me. Blue face thing you did a while back. Oh, yeah. I did see that. What was that for again? Like, that was for some, like, mental health thing, right? Sire07. Welcome. I don't think you've been here before. Also, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It feels like a soft C to me.
Oh, there's 5.
Oh, shit! Everyone is here. But yeah, I did see it. I don't remember if you put that in Discord or if that was a tweet. But I did see it. And it turned out very well. Was that just like they got a bunch of different artists to work on that? Or were they just like, Matt's available?
There's Rob. Hi, Rob.
Jesus Christ.
Everybody's here.
Instagram what? Oh, cool. Oh, Instagram is where I saw that. Right. Got it. This is certainly the bumpingest Sunday stream we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Rob hasn't seen. So as I explained at the top of this stream, and I guess a few of you weren't here. There's a new character in this scene, and well, a few of you might have seen them before. More of you probably haven't. So in the interest of no spoilers, I have done my best to put up a wall of Steves that you might look at. So yeah, I'm cursed to look at this while trying to get work done. Or blessed. I'm blessed to look at this while getting work done. I didn't cover this arm. I thought about it, but I figured you're not gonna be spoiled by an arm. I especially like this one. I didn't realize he played a magician in something.
Oh yeah, look at him.
He just looks wonderful.
Also, beautiful Steve in panel 2 is quite lovely.
Oh yeah, apparently he plays God.
Oh.
That's him as God. I don't really know. I'm not as familiar with his more recent work.
How do you do, fellow Silps?
That's actually really good. That's great. That's going in. If we can get to a place in the narrative where Sorrel has to stick on some big pointy ears.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
Delicious. This is great.
I don't remember him in Grown Ups. I've only seen it once though.
I tend not to watch Adam Sandler movies. I super want to see Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Because when Sandler rises from his grave and tries, he's actually really good.
I thought Grown Ups was kind of cute. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, fair play. I haven't actually seen it.
It was cute.
I suspect, based on me and Sandler's not exactly congruent comedy sensibilities, it probably wouldn't be for me.
Like it wasn't at all like Happy Gilmore. It was more wholesome, I guess. It was cute.
And see, that's the weird thing of all Sandler's, and this is probably just because I saw it when I was like 12 or 13. Like, I have fond memories of Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would hold up today because it has been 20 years since I've seen the movie.
I actually really love The Wedding Singer.
Sorry, more recent work. No, I'm talking about. Sorry, I wasn't looking at chat for a moment. You mean I was talking about Steve Buscemi's recent work, not Adam Sandler's. As for work in which Steve appears that I am familiar with, like, oh god, Fargo, Escape from L.A., unfortunately, of which he's probably the best part because he's just being peak Steve Buscemi, where he's just a sleazy man in a crappy suit. A Big Lebowski, obviously. But yeah, I guess like his late 90s stuff.
I want to watch Reservoir Dogs again.
Oh yeah, of course, Reservoir Dogs. Right.
So good.
Yeah, I actually only saw Reservoir Dogs for the first time, like, after me and Jen were a thing. So like, and only after Jen was living here. So it would have been sometime in the last 4 years I saw Reservoir Dogs for the first time. It was very good. And I say that as a man who finds Tarantino's work, like, kind of hit or miss. I seem to be the only human being who thought, oh, whatever his half of Grindhouse was called, I thought that was kind of shit. The car stunts were really cool, but it was so over the top, unrestrained Tarantino in its dialogue, and particularly the amount of dialogue, that I was, after Planet Terror, I was kind of falling asleep.
Well, Planet Terror is clearly the better one.
Well, see, the thing is, like,
Death Proof, that's it.
Planet Terror, like, Rodriguez and Tarantino clearly went about it differently, because Rodriguez took the tropes of like shitty drive-in B movies and like amped it up to parody levels, whereas it seems what Tarantino was trying to do was to make exactly what you would have seen at a drive-in movie theater, like,
Yeah.
where it's mostly boring and bad, and because with Planet Terror, like, all those things were amped up to be obviously funny,
Yeah.
whereas in Death Proof it sticks so closely to the kind of movie that it's attempting to be that it has all the problems that those movies had to me.
I have a huge like for Death Proof though, because freaking
I mean, Kurt Russell's in it.
he is wonderful as a terrible bad guy, and all the horror tricks are traditional, and that makes me so happy. But like otherwise, it's not the best movie. Oh my god, the stunts are incredible.
Yeah, the car stunts are absolutely fantastic. The thing is, like, easily 2/3 of that movie are one shot of ladies sitting around a table talking. And as particularly that scene kept going, I was like, oh my god, this is it, isn't it? And it mostly was.
Like Reservoir Dogs did that right, where it's just a group of guys sitting around talking.
Yes, I was much more engaged.
It was
And-
because
and-
they were better characters.
And that's, well, that, and like, again, I think Tarantino was doing this shit on purpose.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, this is exactly the kind of movie you would have seen, and all the, you know, highs and lows and other lows and still more lows that come with that. And he did a bang up job of doing that. I also, as of yesterday, suddenly collected a big thirst to watch some kung fu movies. I don't think I told you. I downloaded Drunken Master and Snake and Eagle Shadow yesterday. And I was like, we should just watch some kung fu movies.
Yes!
Yeah.
I've been jonesing for Shaolin. I've wanted to watch that again, like really
Like the remake, the more recent
Yeah,
one with
yeah.
Andy Lau. That one's really fucking good.
He's so dreamy.
He is a dreamboat. Oop. Oop. I can only make curves if they're bending right. Sorry, what the hell is Birth of the Dragon?
Least offensive WWE funded movie.
All I can say is I hope you saw it for free. Yeah, right? And it sucks too, like doing digital has kind of ruined me a little bit because God, what was I doing just the other day? Like I was drawing on paper, which I do so shockingly seldom anymore. Or maybe not even that. Like I might have just been like drawing with a dry erase marker on the side of the fridge or something. And I wanted to flip the canvas.
Oh, you were on the Switch.
Oh, right, yeah, I was on the Switch. I was leaving a comment on Super Mario Maker. So I guess that was still digital, so I guess that's not completely embarrassing. Anyways, in Super Mario Maker, you can leave comments that are little, like, color drawings. And I was leaving a comment. And when I leave a comment in Mario Maker, I don't fuck around. I make like, really detailed drawings. And, yeah, I wanted to flip the canvas so that I could better make the perfect Mario Maker comment. Which, by the way, when I leave a Mario Maker comment, it is gory as hell. I already had,
Oh, it's for me.
Oh, okay. Eat your vitamins. I already ate my vitamins.
Oh, okay.
We're old, so we need vitamins. What am I doing? I'm old, so I forget what I'm doing. Oh, that's fun. The thing with WWE movies, though, isn't the whole point that they star WWE performers? So how do you get a dramatized Bruce Lee movie using, like, buff white dudes? Speaking of which, I should probably, while I'm on a martial arts kick, I should probably get all the Bruce Lee movies. No joke, too. I really want to do a Rising Sand Universe version of, like, Enter the Dragon / Mortal Kombat, obviously. Bothering me about Doll's nose. I will return to that. So many Steves. Maybe we can just start inking Steve. And he can just be in the comic.
He's playing the world's smallest violin in that screenshot. Beautiful.
Look at this beautiful dude. Just gorgeous. I tried using Credo once. It was pretty cool. It had some really neat effects, but I couldn't really get into it. It definitely does some stuff that like you can't really do in most graphic software. So I definitely think it has its uses, but I would have to need to. I'm just gonna roll with that. I would have to need to spend some more time with it to figure out how it could be useful to me. I mean, it's free. That's pretty awesome. At least I believe it's free. I hope I didn't steal it. I'm gonna give him those Sylviers. Yes! Perfect. Look at this beautiful boy. This beautiful ghoulish boy. Yes! That turned out great. Thank you for your service, Steve. Yeah, free. I mean, like, free and open source is always good. Counterpoint. GIMP is free and open source, and that's a piece of crap. But, nevertheless, it has its uses. And can do a lot of the things that more expensive graphics programs can do. Almost. And that's the thing. Doll and Rose Dad is directly based on Willem Dafoe. And incidentally, when I was looking for these Steves, somebody had put Steve Buscemi's eyes on Willem Dafoe. And it looked completely like, yeah, I believe that as a person. It was very strange. Oh boy. Sorrel deserves better. Sorrel, you deserve better. Speaking of martial arts and watching and rewatching things, I need to carve out a time to just rewatch Dragon Ball Z. I need to carve out the time to watch 291 22-minute episodes of television.
I mean, you could probably do that while you're working.
Oh yeah, no, you don't need to. Dragon Ball Z is like Star Trek. Like, you don't need to look at the screen to know what they're doing. In Star Trek's case, standing around talking about beams. And in Dragon Ball Z's case, standing around squatting around screaming about beams, actually. Now that I think of it. Wait, there's a tweet here about how those are the same thing. I'm going to do that tweet after this stream is over. You'll see. You will love.
I miss running home from the bus stop with my little brother so we could watch it.
It was only on at like fucking 6:30 in the morning on channels I got. And on the channel I got it, it never moved beyond the Vegeta saga.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah, but I don't want to watch DBZ abridged. I want to watch the real thing. Yeah, so I'm super familiar with Raditz and Vegeta. And to a lesser extent, Cell. They started showing the Cell saga eventually.
oh, okay.
But anything past Cell. So, like, once they age Gohan up into, like... They say a teen, but he looks exactly the same as Goku. Ages get weird in Dragon Ball Z, where, like, teenagers are basically just slightly svelter adults. Like, that's where, like, it starts to fall apart for me. And I am much less familiar. Like, I kind of... I mean, obviously I know who Hercule / Mr. Satan is, and I know who Videl is and whatnot. But, like, I don't quite get their relevance to the story. Though, I don't really know what the fuck is going on with, like, Chaozu and Tien and stuff either. Because if you never watched the original Dragon Ball, there's certain parts of Dragon Ball Z that are just never going to be explained.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. I think I stopped at the Cell Saga. So.
I have seen, like, bits of Boo. But I don't know what is... Like, I don't really know the timeline from the end of Cell to the end of the series. Perhaps I was closer to the end than I thought. Not every version of Vegeta is the most baller Vegeta. I mean, I guess that's not true. I guess he has to be wearing his pink shirt to be the most baller. Piccolo wears a shirt at some point in the series too, right? That has a funny thing on it. It says like "hot boy" or something.
I don't remember exactly.
He also has a shirt that has a thing on it.
I think it's green.
I just remember he wears a ball cap and like a t-shirt
Maybe
at
it's
one
yellow.
point.
I can't remember.
At any rate, like I should still watch DBZ Abridged, but I kind of also want to just slog through the entire most needlessly packed with filler version of the show. I mean, it's the modern trend of television, anyways. Fuck, we're 3 episodes into Picard now, and he only just got into space.
Post boy. That's what it says.
Post. So I was close with Hot Boy.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's one of those cultural touchstones that like you absolutely need to be familiar with. Like Star Wars, or at least like the original trilogy, is one of those things where like if you've never seen them, it can be genuinely difficult to engage in large swaths of popular culture because of all the things that reference or are built upon the original trilogy. So like Star Wars is one of those things that like you quote unquote have to see to kind of make sense of a lot of other stuff. But Dragon Ball Z, well, kind of single-handedly responsible for popularizing anime in the West to the degree that it became popular. Like I don't think it has quite the like necessity status that something like Star Wars would. It's still fun though. It's really slow, but it's fun. Oh. Yeah, again, 291 episodes. I think if you watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, it's like 170, which is impressive that they were able to condense and ultimately chop the equivalent of over 120 episodes. But again, it is still a lot. And then, as Matt said, there is DBZ Abridged, which it's weird. It's kind of a parody, but it's done with so much respect that it may as well just be that. I think it got in trouble with YouTube for exactly what I'm describing. Like it's so close to the real thing in terms of the actual content being presented. Like it literally acts as a replacement for Dragon Ball Z, that I think they were forced to take it down from YouTube. Honestly, I'm mostly just interested in reading the manga, but that would cost a bunch of money that I presently do not have.
I lost a bunch of it in my storage unit.
Jen, what is this?
That's supposed to be his arm resting on his leg, but now that I look at it, everything seems a bit short.
Well, his torso would have to be so tiny for this to be his leg.
Well, I drew him big, and then just erased everything that was out of panel, and he's hunched over. But with this crop, it
Oh,
looks like
yeah.
bizarre.
So his back should be more like that,
Yeah.
but I'm reading it like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Everything looks a wee bit bizarre now.
I'll revisit that. That's okay. That's an easy fix. In the meantime, let's get his hairs. Is that a Star Wars thing? I mean, first of all, my answer is no. But it sounds like it's a Star Wars thing. I have to admit, I am not really a fan of Star Wars. Like Matt is claiming with anime fans and Dragon Ball Z, I appreciate it in a historical context. I don't really give a shit. Which is interesting because like even me and Jen and T, like we were still going to see the like new trilogy when those would come out in theaters because we figured like that's the main Star Wars saga. We should at least, you know, get our like pop culture references up to date, but like we didn't even bother with the most recent one. I just don't care.
I really like Star Wars, and I like the new trilogy a lot. Or you know, I've only seen the first, the two. I haven't seen the new one, but I don't think I've ever played any of the games.
Yeah, I definitely don't care enough about Star Wars to play like tie-in games or anything. With regards to the new trilogy, I think it's simply just a symptom of every blockbuster movie being the worst now. Like, as far as I'm concerned, the Marvel movies are shit. They are not good movies. And since every franchise is basically just trying to be a Marvel now, they're kind of all just shit now. Except for DC. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're like, we're gonna make Superman into a fucking brooding goth. And that sucked. And then they were like, we're gonna do a Justice League. And oh shit, let's Marvel it at the last second. And that was just crap. And then they're like, Suicide Squad. Who fucking knows what happened there? And I have no idea what they're doing with their movies.
Apparently, they're killing it with Birds of Prey, though.
Apparently Wonder Woman was good. Apparently Aquaman, the best I've heard about Aquaman is not that it's good, but that it's so insane and also just visually stunning that it's like grab a beer and watch that movie.
That goes for every Momoa movie, though.
Yeah, fair enough.
Grab a beer and watch Momoa. I've never seen Clone Wars. I should really watch it.
I've never watched Clone Wars, but I will say that to me it gives that vibe that, you know, stuff like Knights of the Old Republic had and whatnot, where it feels more like a world
Yeah.
than like kind of a contained swashbuckling adventure, and that's really, I mean, obviously look at Rising Sun. Obviously that kind of thing's cool to me. So yeah, if I was gonna like get into Star Wars, I think Clone Wars might be the way I'd do it.
We have not seen Hardcore Henry.
No,
Watch
that is so on my friggin' list, though. I love crazy shit like that. I am a huge fan of the Crank movies. Crank 1 and in particular Crank 2 are just chef's kiss. They're so good.
You should watch
Uh, but yeah, Hardcore Henry. I've seen the music video that inspired the movie, and obviously I've seen like trailers and marketing material for it, and like just imagining how I would be kept engaged for a feature length with a silent protagonist from the first person perspective of that silent, like it's such an insane idea, and it looks like it's so interestingly pulled off in terms of action and stuff that I am actually very excited to eventually see that. I will say though that any trepidation I had at the idea of uh, being engaged by a silent protagonist for multiple hours at a time melted away a little bit with Doom. Now, of course, I was playing that guy, but still, there was just so much personality, and you could get so much about Doom Guy in Doom 2016 just from what little you saw of his hands.
I love that game so much. I should play it.
Yes, you should. I actually have buried on a hard drive, like right here. And actually, Matt Lucas, I believe, was the one who recommended it to me.
I was too.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that movie's great.
Well, shit, if everybody in my life is going to tell me to watch that, maybe I'll watch that.
Actually, it's on my never watch again list.
Because, like, another one of my favorite story conceits is anything that takes place in, like, an extremely, like, any single location movie. So, like, I thought Phone Booth was the tits. I love Phone Booth. What's another one? Sorry, I'm looking at you. I'm just over here.
I don't know. Did you like the first Saw?
I did like the first Saw.
Oh, the first Saw was good.
I'm not really a horror movie fan, and as the series, in hindsight, I'm not really a Saw fan. But the first Saw, when I saw it in theaters, blew my goddamn mind. Where I was just like, we're just sitting here in a bathroom, and these men are making what at the time felt like complex moral choices. How about that? And even for the first few movies, like, I kind of liked the narrative was actually happening inside this narrative. Oh, those two narratives were happening at the same time as this third narrative. Oh, all of it was happening inside this fourth narrative. I thought that was neat until it wore out its welcome. 2 was not my favorite because I'm not really a fan of, like, they're all trapped in a spooky house kind of movies.
Yeah.
3 I thought was very interesting because it was happening at the same time as 1.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of neat.
I thought that was cool.
What's 4? Is 4 the one with the cop?
Yeah.
That was where things started to get a little like, meh.
I think you'd like The Circle.
What's that?
It all takes place in one room, and you're basically voting people out. I don't remember.
Oh, yes, I've seen the marketing for that movie where it's literally a bunch of people standing in a circle.
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
I think Serena recommended that to me as well. Now, you guys also have to realize I am somebody who very rarely gets around to new media. Getting me to watch anything that is on my to-watch list is like pulling fucking teeth. So I will talk about a game about watching all this shit, and then you'll come back to me 5 years later, and I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I meant to.
New movie in the Saw world is coming out called Spiral. It's got Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson.
Really? Okay, I saw
Interesting.
a single image for Spiral. And it's interesting that it's a Saw movie because my first instinct was like, oh, they've made a movie of Uzumaki. Because I remember the very first time anybody ever showed me Uzumaki, uh, they called it Spiral. Because I think, 15 years ago, it was okay to refer to it as Spiral. And so I was like, oh, okay, so it's like a Junji Ito adaptation. Uh, why does it star Chris Rock? That's very strange. Uh,
So
but
that mystery solved.
but it's interesting that it is a horror movie.
Yeah.
That is extremely strange, but also kind of cool. Oh, we did finally see Get Out. That was good as shit.
Oh my god. Yay.
And again, I say that as like not really a horror movie fan. I thought it was wonderful. It,
Speaking of Samuel L. Jackson in horror movies, I watched Deep Blue Sea 2, and that was the biggest waste of my life.
is he in that?
No, but it reminded me because he gets eaten by the shark in the first one. But
Because it would not surprise me if he still showed up. Well, we're talking about Sam Jackson, another movie I like a lot, which is the kind of mid-budget movie that literally can't be made anymore. I really like Formula 51. I like Formula 51 a lot. That's that one where Sam Jackson and Robert Carlyle just kind of hang out.
Robert Carlyle is a treasure.
And it's great, too, because the two of them are kind of just being themselves. Like, Samuel L. Jackson is, like, basically not acting in that movie. Like, he's even dressed like a weird psycho, like he does in real life. Where, like, he's kind of wearing just golf clothes. Which is kind of how he dresses in real life.
I can't remember if I ever told this story on stream, but when I was working for DeviantArt, my immediate supervisor, no, my supervisor's supervisor, was almost run over by Sam Jackson. And I was there to see it, and then Sam stuck his head out the window and was like, "Sorry, dude," as he drove away. It was so cool.
I'm kind of bummed he didn't say sorry, motherfucker.
Sorry, dude. I also miss sharing an elevator ride with MC Hammer.
What do you mean you missed sharing an elevator ride with...
The building that DA's headquarters is in has, I think, 3 elevators. And the only one that was available at the time was the one that I really didn't like taking because it was clunky. And it opened to let me in. And as the doors were closing, because I decided to take the other elevator, I saw MC Hammer. I was like, oh shit.
God damn it. MC Hammer was in the only Super Bowl commercial I liked this year.
Oh, I didn't know he was in one. Oh.
It was a commercial, and here's the folly of Super Bowl commercials. I don't remember what the commercial was for.
Oh.
It was for a snack, probably Cheetos. It was for a snack that was making this guy, and like he would get like orange dust all over his hands. And he's like at work or something eating what I assume are Cheetos. And his boss is like, "Hey, Johnson, you need to work on the reports." And Johnson has his mouth full of Cheetos, so he can't answer, but his boss can see that his hands have Cheetos all over them. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, no, don't touch anything, because the orange." And then MC Hammer like sticks his head out of like the photocopier and was like, "Can't touch this." And then the song starts, and then it just shows this man in various like getting out of various things due to the Cheeto dust all over his hands. And MC Hammer's head just keeps popping out of random objects to say, "Can't touch this." And then the final vignette is he's at a picnic, and MC Hammer. It was so surreal, and the special effects are just like the right amount of bad that it's like super funny. MC Hammer pops out of the picnic basket, and the picnic blanket becomes his giant pants,
Oh my god!
and he does that side shuffle thing away.
Yes!
It's so good. And that was the only Super Bowl commercial that I liked. The end. I'm not a football fan. I was just at my parents' house when the Super Bowl was on, and my dad was just high and watching the Super Bowl, and so I also watched the Super Bowl and accidentally got high because I was in the room, and the room was very high.
I do love football, but I did not watch the Super Bowl. I also just didn't care for either team.
I don't care for any team.
I like this doll.
Something's off about her face. I don't know what it is. She doesn't look like doll to me. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Have you dropped her eye a bit?
No, it's not the eyes. It's something about the contour of her face.
Oh.
I think her nose is too low. And by extension, everything under her nose. Well, yeah, Matt, it was on Fox. I think that's what blew me away the most about the Super Bowl is how, because I haven't watched like television for a very long time, and just seeing the lowest common denominatorness of all that still doesn't work. I have no idea. This is another thing I guess I'll revisit. But yeah, just the lowest common denominatorness of all the commercials. Like it felt like some They Live shit. Which, for the record, I don't particularly care for that movie. I just like the parking lot fight. Which is the clumsiest, most realistic fight I think I've ever seen in a movie. Go install that curtain rod. And have fun doing it. And be safe. Don't stand on the edge of the tub or anything.
Hi, Rach.
Gracious, we have 6 people in here. That is just monstrous for a Sunday stream.
Yeah.
Is this all teeth?
Yeah,
Oh. Is this all teeth?
Yeah. She's kind of like biting her lip.
Oh, okay, I see. Real? These like more cheeky meats there. Oh my god, it's hot in here. Oh god, the window is open. Well shit, now I don't know what to do. Because it's literally freezing outside. I'll just open the window more.
Do you know what Steve with the phone is from?
No.
Oh.
I think it's a paparazzi photo. Which is why he looks not enthused to be in the photo. I am going to move her ear up. I'll revisit it.
I have never played this.
I appreciate Myst so much. In particular, like we were talking about, like Proteus and whatnot. Because I do like just kind of like being in a mysterious place games. But Myst in particular, I mean particularly the original Myst where it's just still photographs. I always had a really hard time getting into that. Not to knock it at all, it's a phenomenal game. And in particular, just the context of when it came out and what it was at the time cannot be ignored. To answer your question, yes, I've played it. I've never beaten it. Yeah, I certainly am not familiar with the sequels. I wouldn't mind trying out. Didn't they eventually switch the original Myst to like real time? I'd probably be able to get more into that. One of those that I really liked was oh, what's it called? Cairo with a K, like the Egyptian city, but with a K. Uh, it is exactly the kind of weird, desolate, minimalist, dark, ambient, but like it's the same sort of thing. You're just walking around solving puzzles. It is super good. Its soundtrack is amazing.
I have that on Steam. I haven't played much.
It's good. I have not. Is that another one of these? Like these first person puzzle world deals? I don't know what we should call those. Mist likes? I'm sure there's already a term. Oh, I also oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say FPEG like MPEG, but with an F. Um, Another one I really liked was Antichamber. The thing I didn't like about Antichamber is like Antichamber, the idea behind it, like the whole exploring non-Euclidean space, was like a super good idea. But to me, the idea, like that concept, engenders like an almost cosmic horror. And I really wish that Antichamber had just had like a bit, I guess, darker aesthetic. I mean, it's a minor thing. It doesn't affect the game really at all. Well, I mean, I guess it does because I mean, if the whole idea is you're kind of immersed in this this world, I kind of wish that it was like just a little bit more serious and less inspired by Portal and its like diagrams and stuff. But just the whole idea of looking behind, that you got a tunnel with two ends, but then like you look into it and it's like 40 miles to the other end, like just the mind fuck of trying to navigate an environment where three-dimensional rules don't make sense is just kind of inherently frightening to me. I also wouldn't mind playing The Witness. The Witness looks great. The Witness to me looks the most like... So you really liked Myst, didn't you? Like, it's got a huge, like, direct Myst vibe. In my opinion, it looks better than Myst, but... Sorry, what?
Which one's Witness?
The Witness is that one that was done by, Oh, fuck. Who made The Witness? You've seen it. It's like a first-person Myst-like game. But, like, it's this really beautiful... It almost has kind of a Breath of the Wild quality to its visuals. And you'll remember, like, it's an island with, like, a forest on it, and some of the trees are, like, blindingly orange. You've definitely seen pictures of the island before.
Jonathan Blow.
Right, yeah, that guy. No, but I do like the kinds of puzzles that The Witness has. Like, I love... There was this little mini renaissance in the DS era where there were all these, like, low to mid-budget, like, logic puzzle games that involved, you know, various grids and lines and, you know, draw a line from X to Y without them overlapping and stuff. And I just ate that shit up. I love that shit. And The Witness seems to be all that. So that's great. I also like that the Witness teaches it to you without nary a word. No, I do not mean Professor Layton. I mean things like, oh god, there's so many of these damn games. The big one that comes to my mind that actually reminds me of The Witness is Polarity. I think it was called Polarity. There was one where it was... Each level would be a grid. And you would have to trace a line through the grid. And it would have to be a single line. God, I don't even quite remember the rules. I just remember I was completely obsessed with that game. And others like it. Yeah, when I say logic, I'm not talking about, like, there are 3 boys and one is heavier than the other 2, and you must find out which. I'm talking about, like, spatial logic. Like, there is a set of rules that govern this puzzle, and here is a grid with some things on it, and using the rules that you know, solve it. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, Picross is my fucking jam. I love that shit. Picross is great. Incidentally, I didn't start playing Sudoku until like a couple of years ago. When I was finally like, all right, we're gonna see what this is all about. So I downloaded a Sudoku app for my phone, and I'm at the point now where like I can't even play it unless it's on the hardest difficulty and I'm speed running the shit out of it. And it sucks because I'm at the point where I'm starting to be limited by the physical speed of my hands. And it's kind of a bummer because like now it's like the optimization is like literally my physical technique of tapping my phone. And the crazier thing is, too, is when I play Sudoku, I'm an Aspie, so I have, like, really good pattern recognition, but my math skills are, like, atrocious. So I can't really play Sudoku focusing on the math of, like, you know, like, actually adding up and making sure there's only so many numbers of whatever. So... what I do with Sudoku is, depending on the version of digital Sudoku you're playing, you can, and I think most have this. You can like write down possibilities for what can go in any given square. And so when I'm playing Sudoku, I immediately go through each number and fill up the grid with every single possible combination, every single possible number that could be, which then allows me to just, like, once I've done that, I can just see the solution to it. Which is a really ass-backwards way to play Sudoku, and I can imagine that if I was better at the math part, I could probably improve my time quite a bit, because I wouldn't need to do that. But because I'm so bad at the actual numbers, because the thing is, the way I play, they don't even need to be numbers. They could just be colors or symbols or whatever. Because at that point, it's just pure pattern recognition. But I like Sudoku a lot, but I probably don't like it in the way that most people who like Sudoku like Sudoku. I actually really like Minesweeper, too. I actually recently had to teach Jen how to play Minesweeper. She went her whole life without knowing, and to be honest, I don't really blame her. Because it's not like they explain it to you in Windows. But Minesweeper is another example of the kind of puzzle, the kind of logic puzzle I'm talking about that I like. Where, like, it's just simply a set of rules, and the solution is already there. You just have to chisel it out. I guess kind of literally in Minesweeper's case. But yeah, between that and Solitaire, I was always a Minesweeper kid. Terravex, eh? I'm not going to look that up at this moment because you guys will be able to watch me do it. But I am going to write that down. So I can look that up later. I don't know if that was meant to be a joke or not, but no, I said Aspie is an Asperger's syndrome. Technically speaking, I'm autistic. But I'm one of those you couldn't tell unless I told you. It does manifest itself in other ways. For instance, I have virtually no sense of empathy. I can't read emotions on people. Which makes me, I think, very good at critiquing art. In an objective fashion. But, you know, it makes human interaction difficult. And then my math skills are just, they're basically not there. Like, I can barely subtract without a calculator. But, as Jen once pointed out, and I think this fits with the pattern recognition thing, I'm really good at percentages because I can just visualize circles.
Yeah, you kind of kill it at percents and fractions and...
Anything that you can turn into a diagram that you split into sections, I can do that no problem. But like any like normal operations, like even subtraction and addition, but especially like multiplication, fuck that. Like, thank goodness they never tell you in math class that in real life, yes, you are always going to have a calculator. But yeah, I was so terrible at math in high school. And I was trying really hard. But I just couldn't do it. I mean, I could in as much as I graduated. But I got like the bare minimum. And like, you know, science, English, art, of course. Like all that was I didn't even need to blink, but like math was just like it threatened to ruin everything. How? How do you almost fail art? Art is like a gimme in high school.
I was always put into, like, the AP classes.
What the fuck does that mean? It's art class. Like, the people they hire to teach high school art often are not really even artists themselves. My art teacher was the fucking English teacher.
No, my art teacher in like the last couple of years of high school was like hardcore. She was like classical paint with oil, just paintery badass, and she went easy on people that were just there to for the credit.
Which is 90% of the people who take high school art.
But me and like 5 other people took her more advanced class, and she had us on this really like hardcore portfolio schedule, and I just wasn't fast enough.
That's insane.
And the only reason I passed that year is because she gave me extra credit for every ribbon I won in the contest.
That's fun.
So I went from like a D to 105%.
Getting back to chat. First of all, Carson, that's good. If I was a high school art teacher, I would be so much harder on the people who were just there for the easy credit. But 5. What is English GCSE or GCSE? I don't think I've heard of that before. No, if I were an art teacher, I would be like in college. My phone's actually about to die, so I'm gonna be blind to chat in like probably like 3 minutes. No, I understand, but what does GCSE stand for exactly? Like, is that like a particular like certification or something? Oh, I see. Yeah, English, and I mean, you can probably tell by the stupidly encyclopedic sounding like lore entries, even on Rising Sun and whatnot. English, I can just do that shit with my eyes closed. I once did a book report on the English Patient, and I got a 96. And to this day, I've never read the English Patient. I have no fucking idea what that is about. I just wrote some words. And she was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And just gave me a 96. So that's never been my problem. It's numbers that fuck me up. Which sucks, because I love science. I love science, and I love, like, all the insane, like, you know, the string theory and whatnot, like, all that stuff. And, like, I can see it. And, you know, reading these, like, nonfiction books by, like, Brian Greene and shit, like, I can see it. I get the diagrams that I'm looking at, but, like, I can't do math. So I'd never be able to do this in real life. Like, as in any serious capacity. And that sucks. Well, I'm going to do this tiny doll. I also was able to finagle it in high school. Here in Ontario, in Canada, to graduate high school, you need, I think it's 32 credits. I think it's 32 credits. So that's 8 courses a year for 4 years? That doesn't make sense. I think some courses might be half credits or something. I can't remember exactly how the system works. Point is, you need roughly 30 credits. And I was able to finagle it, so 21 of my 32 were art. Which, looking back, was probably not the best idea if I had wanted a more rounded education. But I was able to game the system so that most of the time I was just drawing. Matt was there. He knows. Hey Matt, focus programs, am I right? We had this initiative, I guess we'll call it, in our district when I was in high school, and they were called focus programs. And you would sign up for a focus program, and if you were accepted, you would be basically removed from regular high school, and you would be bused to a different school, or maybe the same one, depending on, like, because different schools had different programs. And you would participate in an area of, like, focus, hence the name. So grade 9 for me was normal, you know, just science, English, math, all that stuff. And I did have an art elective. But in grade 10, I signed up for an animation focus program. So one entire semester of school, I went to a different school where all we did was animate shit all day. And there was an entire semester of high school. So I was like, that ruled. I'm going to do that again next year. So I signed up for technical illustration. So again, one entire half of the school year, I was whisked away from normal learning, and I just learned how to draw, like, exploded views of machinery. And just, again, I was just drawing all day. And then I was like, hey, that was pretty good. I'm going to do that again. So the next year, I took what is billed as a creative arts focus program, which is just kind of like paint your feelings for the day. And that was another entire half of year of school. But anyways, this is how and then when I would go back to regular school, I'm pretty sure I still had art classes. So this is how I finagled 2/3 of my high school credits into art. I just kept signing up for more of these focus programs. Oh yeah, totally. I was the kind of kid who, like, even in elementary school, I would avoid recess as often as possible. Like, I was that kid who was just sitting indoors drawing comics. Incidentally, I should actually post some of those to like Twitter or something. I still have all the comics I made when I was sitting indoors at recess. But yeah, any excuse to not learn things I didn't want to learn in the effort to learn things I did, I attempted to take. I mean, that and more traditional, like, I just didn't want to hang out with, like, the jocks and shit. God, grade, I think it was, can't remember if it was, I think it was grade 10. I think it was when I came back from the animation course in grade 10. I had gym class, like, first period. So, like, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm fucking embarrassing myself in front of a bunch of meatheads, who I'm then supposed to shower with? No, thank you. Because, I mean, I'm sitting here making a comic. I was obviously one of the kids who was, like, picked on. So, like, for a whole semester of school, I was just stinky as shit. Because, like, I'm not doing that. I was just pelted with dodgeballs for an hour. I'm not showering. Not with you guys.
I like this tiny doll.
She's just so tiny.
The tiny angular figures are so much fun.
Yeah, it's like the Samurai Champloo screenshot from yesterday. It's like they're kind of wonky and shitty, but like once they're a part of like the greater whole, like you don't notice at all. Sorry, I just looked to the left and here's fucking Steve Buscemi the magician
Beautiful.
standing tall over this little doll.
Look at those wavy locks.
Holy crap. That's so funny. God, look at him. Oh, that's so great. Man, page 100 is going up this week. We did it, guys. 100 pages. I guess I should say 100 updates. Because since we have at least one 2-page spread coming up, that immediately disconnects the update count from the page count.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah, no, this is great. Like, so many webcomics are dead by now. Particularly webcomics that are trying to be ambitious, which I would definitely qualify us as. And no, I'm just stoked that we've stuck with it. And I'm so excited to like get to the actual point of this story. Like I think it's been difficult for people to parse Rising Sand and to kind of to get into it maybe, because it is so unclear of where it's going so far. Like in all of Act 1, like Act 1 is fun and exciting, but not a lot happens in terms of what we have been selling as the central conflict, that being the whole sun thing. So I think people are still kind of like confused and just kind of like waiting it out to see where this is going to go. And I am proud to announce that in this act, we do start to get into that. So it'll be fun for people to hopefully start to understand more like what our thinking is in how we're putting together this narrative and presenting this narrative, and it'll just be a kind of like aha moment for a lot of people. Oh, it goes so off the rails. I'm so excited. There's like a couple of sequences in particular in Act 2. Like once, like as we, it's really hard to talk about without, like spoilers. There's a couple of moments that I don't think will explain things, but I think some readers will be like, "Oh, it's like that," and it'll be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun. This is definitely, these streams in particular are those moments where it's like, I kind of just want to just say fuck it and just freely talk about everything. And I know that's a trope where you see a lot of like webcomic creators on Twitter being like, I just want to talk about my OCs, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of a sister thing to that, where like I just want to spoil everything. Wait, what is Sorrel doing with his hands in this?
He's supposed to be like his fingers are interlocked.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I was like, he's either holding a sandwich again, or this is his other hand.
No, he's not in the food again.
Right.
At this point.
I just realized though, I gotta put his sandwich all over the floor.
Oh yeah.
I gotta put both of their sandwiches all over the floor. I also gotta mention that in the dialogue. At one point.
That their sandwiches are on the floor?
Well, just like, please stop throwing the sandwiches on the floor.
Oh. Y'all are wasting food.
Yeah, basically.
To be fair, it's not really Sorrel's fault.
No, we get into that. If you're not careful, you're going to accidentally drive to Spoiler Town if we keep casually talking about elements of things that veer too close to certain...
I'm being careful.
Okay.
I'm not being
Alright.
specific. I'm just saying it's not his fault.
Bohm is actually also in this scene, but Bohm is kind of a houseplant.
He's got the hair.
So when he's not directly needed for a particular thing, he can go pages like not actually being in the scene. Oh my goodness. It'd be really cool if we could get Act 2 done in time for next year's TCAF, but I don't know if that's going to happen. We would have to get so fast to get all the way through.
Well, for one, I need to quit breaking my hand.
Yeah, stop breaking your hand,
Yeah.
man. There was a brief moment in Act 1. I actually don't know if I've ever talked about this on stream. Oh shit, it's 5. We're actually done. Whatever. I'm gonna keep talking for a bit. There was a moment in Act 1 where I realized that due to the way Bohm is interacted with and or not interacted with, the fact that only Sorrel talks to or about him in Act 1, and this was before page 56 where he obviously interacts, I was toying with the idea of making Bohm ambiguously not exist, and that he would just be like an imaginary friend you can see, that the reader can see. Like he was originally written as obviously real, but the way things were going in the script, I was like, okay, do I actually want to try to write this so that it will engender ridiculous fan theories about how he's not actually real? But page 56, where like he actually kills the Whippets, kind of puts the kibosh on that. If we make that the only time that he definitely intervenes, then maybe fan theories could still exist.
He intervenes with Roe, though. Like, Dahl gets mad directly at him for shooting at Roe.
Right. Well, whatever. Eventually, Act 1's going to be like the weird non-canon act anyways, because we were young and stupid.
I was never young.
It'll be like, that was season 1. It's like how season one of TNG is like, it may as well have not happened.
Wah, wah.
It's got some weird off-canon shit going on in it, and it's kind of wonky, and so maybe Act 1 will just be kind of our tenuously canon opening. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really excited for the rest of Act 2. I think it's going to be really, really fun. We get back to Lial. Lial comes back in Act 2. We don't get back to Zir and Hel in the present until Act 3. So after the sequence we're currently in, everybody's going to have to say goodbye for the rest of the act. But yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be very good. I'm real excited. But for now, I should probably get into dinner shortly, because it is time. Oh my god, all these Steves. It's so great. What a strange man. You know what? That doll doesn't look so bad zoomed out.
I think it's fine. We shouldn't waste time picking at it.
No. I probably won't. Well, like, worst case scenario, if I absolutely can't stand it, I think it's that her nose needs to be higher.
Okay.
But I'm not sure enough. Anyways, I'm gonna bounce. Because it's time to bounce. Everybody bounce. And everybody go do the things you would have done were I not taking up your time with this bullshit. Oh, Steve will absolutely make it into RS. That is not a question. It is a matter of when, not if. I don't know what form it will take. I don't know if it will be like, a town that has a 30-foot tall statue that just happens to be remarkably similar to Steve Buscemi.
Oh my god, Naviano needs a statue.
Or if it will be a man who has a speaking role in the story, who is Steve Buscemi. But I think it will be soon. Next stream will be stream sketches. That'll be Jen.
That's if I'm not working.
That's if she's not working, yeah. So we will either plan around that to make that happen, or it will be me again. I mean, I guess I could do stream sketches. I'm not quite as adept at drawing on the fly as Jen is, but I suppose we could do it.
We'll figure it out.
I'm in general a shittier artist than Jen is when it comes to like drawing solidly. But yeah, maybe I could do it. We try to trade off though, because neither of us is the greatest or most able streamer in the world, so we split up the duties that way. But yeah, no, that'll probably be the next one. Will be a sketches one. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. This has been fun, and I guess I'll see you guys on the internet, variously in Discord and whatnot. So please come on by, and until
Oh my god.
the next time, you guys are the great. I can't stop the stream because the button to stop it is over there.
Oh, you should wrap it up.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
So, anyways, thanks everybody, and we will meet again shortly.
Bye.
Everybody have a good one.